What if your body could tell you something was wrong before you ended up in the emergency room? What if a tiny device on your wrist could detect an irregular heartbeat 2 weeks before you felt dizzy? Or a sensor in your bedroom could predict a fall 3 days before it happened, just by noticing how your walking pattern changed? This isn't science fiction. This technology exists right now, and it's becoming more affordable and easier to use every single day. For seniors and their families, these devices represent something profound: the ability to stay ahead of health crises instead of just reacting to them. Every year, millions of older adults experience preventable health emergencies. A fall that could have been avoided if someone noticed the shuffle in their gait. A stroke that might have been prevented if an irregular heartbeat had been caught earlier. Dehydration that spiraled into hospitalization because no one realized the warning signs were there. The heartbreaking truth is that our bodies often send us signals days or even weeks before a serious health event. A slight change in how we walk. A new pattern in our sleep. Heart rhythms that shift just a little bit off. But most of us don't notice these subtle changes until it's too late. That's where predictive health technology comes in. These aren't just gadgets. They're early warning systems that watch over you 24 hours a day, learning your patterns and alerting you or your loved ones when something changes. They give you time to call your doctor, time to adjust your medication, time to prevent a crisis before it happens. Today, we're going to explore 4 real devices you can order right now that are changing how seniors stay safe and healthy at home. These tools are designed specifically to catch those warning signals your body sends before a health crisis strikes. And the best part? They're designed to be simple enough that anyone can use them, regardless of how comfortable you are with technology. So whether you're a senior who wants to maintain your independence, or you're a caregiver who lies awake at night worrying about your aging parent, stay with me. What you learn in the next 20 minutes could literally save a life. Before we dive into the specific devices, let's talk about what predictive health technology actually is and how it works. Because understanding this will help you make smarter choices about which tools are right for you. Traditional health monitoring is reactive. You feel chest pain, so you go to the hospital. You fall, so you press your emergency button. You feel dizzy, so you call your doctor. There's nothing wrong with this approach, but it means you're always responding to problems after they've already started. Predictive health technology flips this model upside down. Instead of waiting for you to notice a problem, these devices continuously collect data about your body and your behavior. They measure things like your heart rate, your blood oxygen levels, how you're sleeping, how you're moving around your home, even subtle changes in your balance or gait. Here's where it gets interesting. These devices don't just collect data. They learn your baseline. They figure out what's normal for you specifically. Maybe your resting heart rate is typically 58 beats per minute. Maybe you usually get up to use the bathroom once during the night. Maybe you typically take about 2,000 steps around your home each day. Once a device knows your normal patterns, it can detect when things change. And this is crucial. Many serious health events are preceded by measurable changes in these patterns. Someone who's about to have a fall often shows changes in their walking speed or steadiness days before the fall happens. Someone developing atrial fibrillation might show irregular heart rhythms during sleep before they experience any symptoms. Someone becoming dehydrated or developing an infection might show changes in their resting heart rate or activity levels. Modern predictive health devices use sensors and artificial intelligence to spot these patterns. The sensors collect the raw data. Accelerometers track movement. Optical sensors measure heart rate and blood oxygen. Pressure sensors detect when you're sitting or standing. Then, AI algorithms analyze this data, looking for deviations from your normal patterns. When the device detects something concerning, it alerts you, or in many cases, it can alert family members or caregivers. Some devices send notifications to smartphones. Others can connect directly with medical alert services or even share data with your healthcare provider. The goal is simple: give you advance notice. Give you time to take action before a small problem becomes a big crisis. And for many seniors, this technology represents the difference between staying safely at home and having to move to assisted living. It's about preserving independence while also providing peace of mind. Now, let's look at 4 specific devices that you can actually buy today, each designed to catch different types of warning signals your body sends. The first device we need to talk about is the Apple Watch Series 9, or if you're looking for something more budget-friendly, the Apple Watch SE. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I'm not a tech person, and Apple Watch sounds too complicated. But hear me out, because this device has features specifically designed to predict and prevent health crises in older adults. The Apple Watch has built-in fall detection that uses an accelerometer and gyroscope to detect if you've taken a hard fall. But here's what makes it predictive. The device is constantly monitoring your movement patterns and balance. If you're moving more slowly than usual, if your gait is becoming unsteady, the watch is collecting that data. While it won't necessarily alert you to subtle changes in walking patterns, the fall detection feature itself becomes more sensitive when it detects you're over a certain age. And if a fall does occur, it automatically calls emergency services if you don't respond within 60 seconds. But fall detection is just the beginning. The Apple Watch includes heart rate monitoring that checks your heart rhythm in the background throughout the day and night. It can detect irregular rhythms consistent with atrial fibrillation, or AFib, which is a leading cause of stroke in older adults. Here's why this matters. AFib often has no symptoms. You might have it for months without knowing. But if your Apple Watch detects an irregular rhythm, it sends you a notification, giving you time to see your doctor and potentially start treatment before you have a stroke. The device also monitors your blood oxygen levels while you sleep. Low blood oxygen can be an early warning sign of sleep apnea, respiratory problems, or other serious conditions. If your levels are consistently lower than they should be, you'll get an alert. There's also heart rate variability monitoring, which can indicate stress levels and overall cardiac health. And one of the most valuable features for seniors, high and low heart rate notifications. If your heart rate drops below or rises above certain thresholds when you appear to be inactive, you'll get an alert. This can catch problems like bradycardia, tachycardia, or other concerning cardiac events before they become emergencies. Imagine you're an 80-year-old woman living alone. You've always been active, walking around your neighborhood every morning. But over the past week, your Apple Watch has noticed your walking speed has decreased by 15%. Your resting heart rate has been slightly elevated. Your sleep quality has declined. Then one morning, you get a notification, irregular heart rhythm detected. You call your doctor. They see you that afternoon and discover you're in AFib. They start you on blood thinners immediately. 2 weeks later, your cardiologist tells you that catching it early likely prevented a stroke. That's the power of predictive monitoring. The Apple Watch didn't wait until you felt dizzy or collapsed. It caught the warning signals early. Now, the Apple Watch does require an iPhone to set up and use, which is an additional cost if you don't already have one. But for seniors who do have iPhones, or for families willing to invest in the ecosystem, it's one of the most comprehensive predictive health devices available. You can find it on Amazon, and prices typically range from around $250 for the SE model to $400 or more for the Series 9. The second device is the Samsung Galaxy Watch 6, which is an excellent option if you use an Android phone or simply prefer Samsung's ecosystem. Like the Apple Watch, this device packs serious predictive health monitoring into a wearable format that looks like an ordinary watch. The Galaxy Watch 6 offers similar fall detection capabilities to the Apple Watch, but Samsung has integrated some unique features that make it particularly valuable for seniors concerned about heart health. The watch includes an FDA-cleared ECG monitor that can take a medical-grade electrocardiogram reading right from your wrist. This means you can check your heart rhythm anytime you feel something might be off, and the data can be shared directly with your doctor. But again, the real power is in the continuous monitoring. The Galaxy Watch 6 tracks your heart rate constantly and will alert you to irregularities. It monitors blood oxygen levels, which, as we discussed, can catch respiratory and cardiac issues early. And it has something called irregular heart rhythm notification, which specifically watches for signs of AFib. One feature that sets Samsung's watch apart is its sleep tracking capabilities. The device monitors your sleep stages throughout the night and can detect patterns that might indicate sleep disorders. Poor sleep isn't just about feeling tired. Sleep disturbances can be early warning signs of cognitive decline, depression, heart problems, and many other conditions. If your sleep patterns change significantly, the watch will let you know, giving you a chance to investigate what's causing the change before it affects your overall health. The Galaxy Watch 6 also includes something called body composition analysis. By placing your fingers on two buttons on the watch, it can measure your skeletal muscle mass, body fat percentage, body water, and other metrics. Why does this matter for predictive health? Because sudden changes in body composition can indicate serious problems. Rapid muscle loss might suggest malnutrition or a metabolic disorder. Sudden increases in body water could indicate heart or kidney problems. Having this data at your fingertips means you can track trends over time and catch concerning changes early. Let me give you a real-world scenario. Imagine a 75-year-old man who lives with his wife. He's been managing his health pretty well, taking his medications, trying to stay active. His Galaxy Watch has been tracking his baseline metrics for months. Then over a 2-week period, the watch detects that his resting heart rate has increased from 65 to 78 beats per minute. His sleep efficiency has dropped from 85% to 70%. His body composition scan shows he's lost 3 pounds of muscle mass. He's also been more sedentary than usual. These changes individually might not seem alarming, but taken together, they paint a picture. His wife encourages him to see his doctor. Turns out, his thyroid medication dosage needed adjustment, and he was developing an infection that hadn't yet caused obvious symptoms. Because they caught it early, treatment was simple. Without the watch's continuous monitoring, that infection might have progressed to something far more serious. The Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 is compatible with both Android and iOS devices, though you get the full feature set with Android. You can find it on Amazon for around $300, sometimes less during sales. For seniors and families in the Android ecosystem, it's an outstanding choice for predictive health monitoring. Now, let's talk about a different type of predictive technology. Not everyone wants to wear a watch, and not everyone needs the full suite of features that smartwatches offer. Sometimes, the most important thing is simply knowing if someone has fallen or if their daily patterns have changed dramatically. That's where the Cherish Health Radar comes in. The Cherish Health Radar is a device about the size of a small speaker that you place in the main living area of your home. It uses radar technology to monitor movement, breathing, and presence without any cameras or wearables. This is crucial for seniors who don't want to wear devices or who might forget to charge them or put them on. Here's how it works. The radar sensor continuously tracks movement patterns throughout the day and night. It learns your normal routine. Maybe you typically get up at 7 in the morning, go to the kitchen, move around your living room, sit in your favorite chair for a while, take a short walk, and so on. The device builds a detailed picture of your typical activity. The predictive power comes from detecting deviations from these patterns. If you're suddenly moving more slowly than usual, if you're sitting for much longer periods, if you're getting up more frequently at night, if your walking pattern becomes more shuffling or unsteady, the device notices. And it shares this information with designated family members or caregivers through a smartphone app. But the Cherish Health Radar goes beyond just activity monitoring. It can detect falls with high accuracy because it's watching your movement in 3-dimensional space. Unlike wearable fall detectors that you might not be wearing when you fall, the radar is always watching. If you fall, alerts are sent immediately to your emergency contacts. Even more impressive, the device monitors breathing patterns while you sleep. It can detect if your breathing becomes irregular or stops temporarily, which might indicate sleep apnea or other respiratory issues. It tracks sleep quality and duration, alerting caregivers if sleep patterns change significantly. The beauty of this system is that it's entirely passive. A senior doesn't have to remember to wear anything or push any buttons. They just live their life, and the device watches over them. For family members who live far away and worry constantly about an aging parent, the peace of mind is enormous. Let me paint a picture. Imagine an 83-year-old widow living alone in the home she's owned for 40 years. Her daughter lives 2 states away and calls every day, but she worries constantly. Is mom eating enough? Is she moving around okay? What if she falls and can't get to her medical alert button? They install the Cherish Health Radar in her living room. For the first few months, everything looks normal in the app. Mom's moving around as usual, sleeping well, maintaining her routines. Then one week, the data changes. Mom's time sitting has increased by 30%. Her walking speed has decreased. She's getting up 3 times a night instead of her usual once. Most concerning, her breathing during sleep shows several interruptions that weren't there before. The daughter calls. At first, mom insists she's fine, but when pressed, she admits she's been feeling more tired than usual, a little short of breath. The daughter insists she see her doctor. Turns out, mom was developing congestive heart failure. Because they caught it early, because the Cherish Health Radar detected the changes in her activity and breathing before the symptoms became severe, her doctor was able to adjust her medications and avoid a hospitalization. This is predictive health monitoring at its finest. The device caught warning signals that mom herself hadn't fully recognized or was perhaps downplaying. The Cherish Health Radar is available on Amazon for around $200. There's a monthly subscription fee for the app and alert services, typically around $20 to $30 per month. For families who want continuous monitoring without requiring their loved one to wear or manage any devices, it's an excellent investment. The fourth device we need to discuss is the Withings BPM Connect Smart Blood Pressure Monitor. Now, you might be thinking, wait, that's just a blood pressure cuff. How is that predictive? And that's a fair question. But modern smart blood pressure monitors are far more sophisticated than the traditional cuffs you might be used to. High blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. Most people with hypertension have no symptoms until they have a stroke, heart attack, or kidney failure. But blood pressure doesn't just suddenly spike one day. It follows patterns. It trends upward over time. It responds to factors like stress, sleep, medication, diet, and activity level. The Withings BPM Connect is a wireless blood pressure monitor that connects to your smartphone via an app. But here's what makes it predictive. The app doesn't just show you your latest reading. It tracks your blood pressure over time, graphs the trends, and alerts you when readings are outside your normal range or trending in a concerning direction. The device measures both blood pressure and heart rate, and it can detect irregular heartbeats during measurements, which might indicate AFib or other arrhythmias. Each reading is automatically stored in the app with a date and timestamp, and you can add notes about what you were doing when you took the reading. Why does this matter for predictive health? Because patterns reveal things that individual readings hide. Maybe your morning blood pressure readings have been creeping up by 2 or 3 points each week. Any single reading is within acceptable limits, but the trend is concerning. The app can show this trend to you and your doctor, allowing for early intervention before you develop full-blown hypertension. Or consider this scenario. A 72-year-old man has been managing his blood pressure with medication for years. His readings have been stable, but over a 2-week period, his readings start showing more variability than usual. Some are higher, some lower, but the consistency is gone. This could indicate that his medication needs adjustment, that he's developing a new health issue, or that something in his routine has changed that's affecting his blood pressure. With traditional monitoring, where you only check your blood pressure at doctor's appointments, this pattern might not be caught for months. With the Withings BPM Connect, the man sees the change immediately in his app. He contacts his doctor, who adjusts his medication dosage. Crisis averted. The device also allows you to share your data directly with healthcare providers. You can generate reports that show weeks or months of readings, which gives your doctor far more information than a single reading taken in the office. And we all know about white coat syndrome, where blood pressure reads artificially high in medical settings. Home monitoring eliminates this issue and provides a more accurate picture of your true blood pressure. For seniors with existing hypertension or those at risk for developing it, regular monitoring with a smart device like the Withings BPM Connect transforms blood pressure management from reactive to proactive. Instead of finding out your blood pressure is dangerously high when you end up in the emergency room, you catch the upward trend early and intervene before damage occurs. The Withings BPM Connect is available on Amazon for around $80 to $100. There's no subscription fee. You buy the device once, download the free app, and you're set. For the price, it's one of the most valuable predictive health tools a senior can own, especially if you have any family history of cardiovascular disease or if you're already on blood pressure medication. Now that we've explored these 4 devices in detail, let's step back and talk about what this all means for you and your health. The common thread running through all of these technologies is simple but profound. They give you time. Time to notice changes before they become crises. Time to consult with your doctor while problems are still manageable. Time to adjust medications, change behaviors, or seek treatment before you end up in an ambulance. For seniors, this technology represents something even more important than early detection. It represents independence. So many older adults end up moving out of their homes not because they can't physically manage living independently, but because family members are too worried about them being alone. What if mom falls? What if dad has a heart attack and no one is there? These devices address those fears. They provide a safety net that allows seniors to stay in their homes longer while giving family members peace of mind. The 80-year-old who wears an Apple Watch with fall detection isn't just protecting herself. She's reassuring her children that she has backup, that help will come if something goes wrong. The parent whose daughter can check the Cherish Health Radar app and see that everything looks normal doesn't have to face a worried phone call every single day. But I want to be very clear about something important. These devices are tools, not replacements for medical care. They should complement your relationship with your healthcare providers, not substitute for it. If you get an alert about an irregular heartbeat, that's not a diagnosis. It's a reason to call your doctor. If your blood pressure trends upward, that's not a medical emergency requiring a 911 call. It's information to share with your physician at your next appointment, or sooner if the changes are significant. Think of these devices as extremely attentive assistants who never sleep, never forget to check on you, and never get tired of monitoring the same metrics over and over again. They do the vigilant watching that no human being could sustain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But the interpretation of what they find, the decisions about what to do with the information, that still requires human judgment and medical expertise. I also want to acknowledge that cost can be a barrier for some families. A smartwatch, a home radar system, and a blood pressure monitor together represent an investment of several $100s. For seniors on fixed incomes, that might feel out of reach. But consider the alternative costs. A single emergency room visit can cost thousands of dollars. A hospitalization for a preventable condition can cost tens of thousands. The emotional cost of a serious health event that could have been prevented is incalculable. If cost is a concern, start with one device that addresses your most significant risk factor. If you have high blood pressure or a family history of heart disease, maybe the Withings blood pressure monitor is the best place to start. If falls are your biggest worry, the Apple Watch or Samsung Galaxy Watch with fall detection might be the priority. If you're a family member worried about an aging parent who lives alone, the Cherish Health Radar could provide the monitoring you need without requiring your parent to remember to wear or charge anything. Also, check with your insurance provider. Some Medicare Advantage plans and supplemental insurance policies now cover certain health monitoring devices, especially if they're prescribed by a physician. Some companies offer HSA or FSA eligible options, allowing you to use pre-tax dollars to purchase these tools. And remember, these technologies are constantly improving and becoming more affordable. The devices I've described today represent the current state of consumer health technology. But in a year or two, there will be even more options, with even better features, likely at lower prices. Let's bring this all together. Your body is remarkably intelligent. It knows when something is wrong long before your conscious mind recognizes a problem. It sends signals through subtle changes in your heart rhythm, your movement patterns, your sleep, your blood pressure, your breathing. For most of human history, We've been terrible at detecting these signals until they became loud and obvious, until they became crises. But we don't have to live that way anymore. The technology exists right now to catch these warning signals early, to give you advance notice, to provide time for intervention before small problems become big emergencies. The Apple Watch Series 9 and Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 offer comprehensive health monitoring in a device you wear every day. They watch your heart rhythm, detect falls, monitor your blood oxygen, track your activity, and sleep. They're particularly powerful for seniors who want an all-in-one solution and who are comfortable with wearable technology. The Cherish Health Radar provides invisible, passive monitoring for seniors who don't want to wear devices or who might forget to charge them. It tracks movement, breathing, and daily patterns, alerting family members to concerning changes while allowing the senior to maintain privacy and independence. The Withings BPM Connect turns a simple blood pressure cuff into a predictive tool that catches trends and patterns before they become crises. For anyone with high blood pressure or at risk for cardiovascular disease, it's an invaluable way to stay on top of one of the most important health metrics we have. Together, these technologies represent a new approach to aging and health management, an approach that's proactive instead of reactive. An approach that preserves independence while providing safety. An approach that gives you the information you need to stay healthy longer. If you're a senior watching this, I want you to know that using these devices doesn't mean you're giving up control or admitting weakness. It means you're being smart. You're using the tools available to protect yourself and maintain your independence. You're staying ahead of problems instead of waiting for them to find you. If you're a caregiver watching this, I want you to know that encouraging your loved one to use these devices isn't about spying on them or taking away their autonomy. It's about giving them the support they need to stay safely in their home. It's about reducing your worry while respecting their independence. And most importantly, it's about potentially saving their life by catching problems early. So here's my call to action for you. If you want to protect your health and stay independent longer, take one step today. Maybe that step is researching which of these devices makes the most sense for your situation. Maybe it's having a conversation with your doctor about which health metrics you should be monitoring most closely. Maybe it's sitting down with your adult children and discussing how technology could help everyone feel more secure. Don't wait for a health crisis to make these decisions for you. Don't wait until after a fall or a heart attack to wish you'd been monitoring things more carefully. The whole point of predictive health technology is that you don't have to wait for the crisis. You can stay ahead of it, talk with your doctor, show them this information, ask which devices they recommend for your specific health situation, ask them how you can share data from these devices during your appointments. Most modern healthcare providers are enthusiastic about patients who take an active role in monitoring their health. Your body is sending signals right now. Small changes in patterns that might not mean anything or might mean everything. The question is, do you have the tools to hear those signals? Because catching them early could make all the difference. It could mean the difference between a minor medication adjustment and a major hospitalization. Between staying in your home and having to move. Between a long, healthy life and a preventable tragedy. The technology is here, it's affordable, it's easy to use, and it works. The only question left is, will you use it? Thank you for spending this time with me today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and remember, the best time to prevent a health crisis is before it happens.